of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Cougars. Welcome to SCTV News for the week of June 7th. I'm Josh Ostrowski.
And I'm Taj Webster. Congratulations, Cougars. You've made it through one of the strangest school years in history. From distance learning in the fall to hybrid learning in the spring, no one will ever forget the 2020 to 2021 school year.
I think I will look back with mixed emotions because in the beginning it was terrifying, really scary, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of social emotional problems for teachers as well as the students. But I think I'm also going to look back somewhat fondly because I think we showed a lot of resilience, strength, courage to get through all of this kind of stuff. But I don't hope it happens anytime soon ever again.
Because I teach mostly freshmen, all I've ever seen of them is this up. Whereas the older kids, I saw them without masks on, so I can recognize them way better. But my own students, I don't really know what they look like. So to help things, I'm breaking the law. This is what I look like, just in case you were wondering, or now you're like really freaked out. So to me, that's probably the worst part, is just I really don't know what they look like. In Aries, there's a feature where you could look at their pictures, but they don't look like that anymore. That was back in August when they looked like 8th graders. Now they're full-on high schoolers. So that's what I would say was the biggest thing to deal with, one of the many things to deal with.
I'll remember it as being somewhat isolating, and then also unique in that we got to experience Zoom classes for the first time. But then also I got to spend more time with family, which is something, a silver lining that came out of it.
To nutshell it, I bought a planner and it had goals each month, and my first goal was not to have a mental breakdown. I've sort of survived that, barely. I will remember being terrified. I'll remember just all the grace that was given both directions. I will remember how hard it was. I remember in my 31 years, it was the hardest year ever. And I will remember that we did what seemed like the impossible. So high five us, yay.
I think I'll remember how small and intimate the class settings were. It was really nice to get to work individually with students. Like I was able to check in with every single student, every single block, and that was pretty neat. So in terms of positives, that's what I'll remember.
It was pretty amazing to show up for the IFE exam and see some of my calc students for the first time all year in person. So I'll always remember that, getting to actually see students for the first time on the exam day. And then also, I'm always going to remember the senior class hosting a prom on campus, and getting to just have an in-person prom was super exciting, given that about like 3 months before, we didn't know if that was going to happen. So I'll always remember being able to put on a prom on campus in person during the COVID year.
Initially, it was a lot of anxiety and unknown and fear. And then as I got into it a little bit more, it had made me reflect on what's really important to me, and time for us all to kind of learn about how to take care of ourselves, take care of each other, and really let the people in our lives know what they really mean to us.
What I will remember about this year is black screens with names across them. That's what I'm going to remember most about this year. I have to say this year it's taken a lot out of us, and I hope in 5 years when I look back on this, I try and think of the positives or just not remember anything, which I think I'm just going to wipe it from my memory. No, in all honesty, this year has it's been unprecedented. It's been nothing like we've ever seen before, and I hope we never ever see again. But we've made it through, and our kids have learned, some better than others. Some are going to have to do things again, but at the same time, many of them have risen to the challenge. They've stepped up, they've done what they need to do, and a lot of them, we just have to kind of keep being there for them. And really, that's what it comes down to, is being there for our kids.
There were many challenges, but the good thing that I can say about 2021 is that it's almost over, and that I'm very grateful that we survived yet another class of 2021.
I think what I'm going to remember the most is just overcoming obstacles from everybody, from the students to the families to the teachers to the classified staff administratively, overcoming obstacles to deliver distance learning, hybrid learning, get students on campus, overcoming all of the challenges that it took and the safety measures that it took to come together, and just really a sense of family coming together to do whatever we had to do to meet the needs of our community.
Graduation day is this Thursday. Seniors are invited to a breakfast sponsored by the Steel Canyon PTO, starting at 8 a.m. This will happen on the field to allow for social distancing, so you can bring a blanket or towel so you can grab a section of turf. And then, mandatory graduation practice begins promptly at 9:30 a.m. Remember, you cannot participate in graduation unless you attend practice. Then, you have the rest of the afternoon to get ready, before returning to campus by 4 p.m. Mrs. Harold explains how the rest of the day will go.
All of the graduates need to arrive on campus by 4 p.m. It's really important that we get you checked in. You're not to bring anything with you. So we will be checking students to make sure they don't have anything on them. And then we'll be meeting in the quad. Families can arrive at any time before 6 p.m. They are going to be assigned seats. So it's not going to be first come, first serve for seating. So that's something that's really different as well. So everybody will have assigned seats. So get here when you get here. Your seats will be what your seats are.
What kind of weather can we expect for graduation day? For the first time in more than a year, we return to room D110 for this week's weather report.
It will be cloudy in the morning, but then 40 up sunshine temperatures will be in the 80s. Navigating for many news for kids.
And finally, thank you to all of the staff and students who helped the broadcast this year. Whether you granted the students an interview or replied to an email request for information, you made SCTV happen. And if you helped with a story this term, you could look forward to air during next school year.
That's all the news we have for you today. Have a great summer. Rah, rah, Cougars.
Cougar Pride.
Get some!